Hi everybody, it's Alisa Murray here with Martini Talks, episode 2, and we're out here in the garden. It's been a little noisy tonight with the frogs, so you'll have to forgive me if they start chanting and singing to each other, because it's just living the sweet life. And I hear them already starting up right now, so they're just a cracking and a croaking. We'll have to just deal with that through the video, and again, I apologize for that, but that's just the good Lord. What I want to talk to you guys tonight is about being an artist and also about your gifts. I want you to think about deep down what gifts you've got that God has given you, because each person has some. And to find those gifts and figure out what it is that you can do to make a difference in the lives of others is really your purpose. That's your purpose. We're all asked to figure out who we're going to be, what we're going to do. And there's been a lot of reports on it in terms of happiness and success. And at the end of the day, happiness is not about making money. Happiness is about being able to make a difference and helping each other and being able to be a part of a community where the choices that you make are for the greater good and not necessarily ones for just yourself. And at this time in our lives right now, where all of us are kind of pivoting and moving around and trying to figure out what our next steps are going to be, a lot of times it's a chance for us to sort of do a reset and kind of really think about what goals you would want to set for yourself for the next 6 months, the next year, maybe even the next 5 years. Having been forced into a quarantine and being forced into a situation where you're not doing your daily life, it gives us all an opportunity to figure out maybe a different way of thinking and a different mindset on how we were living our lives before. For me, it's given me an opportunity to really assess, where I have made a difference with the photography over the past 22 years, where I have made a difference with, helping people with kids cancer, breast cancer, the organizations that we've done partnerships with. Also, it's given me a chance to really think about, what can I still do? What can I still give? What is there that I would want to continue to do and do for free, which is really kind of one of those old stories that I'll tell you. So, back when Brian and I first got married, of course, you're in your 20s and the only thing you're thinking about is, going to be a lawyer and I'm going to make money and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to have a big house and have a big car and fancy this and fancy, fancy, fancy. And, now I'm 50 and, life has changed. Life is not about all of those things. It's more about now being able to give back even more and be able to leave people better than what I had met them. For having known me and vice versa. Really the relationships that we have are the most important things that we have, which we talked about last week. But I want you to think about it for a minute. I want you to think about, and I've been doing a lot of studying, been in a lot of classes, and Sean Cannell's one of my mentors for my YouTube channel. And, he said the question, and I want you to think about this question because it really struck with me. It resonated. Are the friends that you're friends with today the friends of your future? I mean, think about that for a second. Are the people that you're hanging out with right now the people that you see as your future? Because if they're not those people, you need to get some new friends. You need to think about who you can connect to, who you can mentor with, who you can partner with, who would inspire you, hold you up, be a listening ear when you've got to run a question past them, or think about maybe, something that you're thinking about that you've been wanting to do all this time, but now you've never had the time and now you do have the time to try it, which is for me, YouTube, which is a scary place, honestly, because I'm used to being behind the camera, not in front of the camera. I'm used to being in total and complete control over pretty much all the editing. And now that my son's in charge of editing, there's music happening behind some of the videos and there's stuff coming out of the editing scene that's not necessarily what my vision was, albeit appreciated all the nonetheless. But at the same time, it's not me in complete control over everything. And so it's a change. It's a change for me in terms of how I can pivot and give you something more of me. And for me, in terms of this video and all videos that have to do with Martini Talks, it's all about living the sweet life and my journey and what your journey could be and making you think about what you could do that would maybe change your future. And so it's really important to kind of sit down and assess all those different things that you could do that would be mind-blowing and absolutely amazing in terms of what you could see within the next 6 months to a year in your life. This gives us an opportunity to really do that. Setting goals for me has been kind of interesting. I've always had like a list of things I wanted to do each month. a list of things I wanted to do each day, a list of things I wanted to do each year. And pretty much year to year, I go through that and mark it off. Sometimes I've set the goal too high. Sometimes I haven't set the goal high enough. But goal setting is part of success. Sitting down and writing down what it is that you want, what choices you want to make. The decisions that you make today are going to matter for your future. Instead of me sitting in there and watching TV and having my martini in private, I'm out here talking to you. And, it's not that comfortable because it's hot and the mosquitoes are biting and the frogs are croaking and all of that jazz. But I feel like if it's important enough for me to say that to the universe, to let people know, kind of what we all should be thinking, which is this is a time for a pivot in our lives, and to focus in on our talents that God has given us to help us figure out what direction we need to go in to do that. It's important for me to do that. It's important for me to sit out here and to go through a martini talk with you tonight. The thing that's been interesting to me is to just sort of assess kind of the successes and the failures. And, I've had a lot of failures. I've had a lot of successes. And to decide kind of going forward, where do I want to focus that energy and effort? Do I want to spend 50% of my time doing what I've been doing? And for those of you that are working in a job where you've got to go to work and you've got to sit in traffic and you've got to do all those things, some of you, those things are going to change because, now you're going to probably be able to work from home, which is wonderful, which I've been blessed to be able to enjoy that feeling and that situation and atmosphere for pretty much my entire working life. What does school look like for your kids? Are you going to stay with the homeschool? Are you going to stick them back in school when school opens back up again? Have you enjoyed it? Have you enjoyed this time to be able to be with the kids? And has it brought you closer? Same thing with your spouse. Has it brought you closer to them? But has it made you think about, maybe where you would want to be and how you'd want to change? And one of the things that you've been doing with your forced situation, how can that continue to play out in a choice for your daily life going forward? It's interesting to me because whenever you start thinking about creating the life that you want to create, what you want to have, and you create the life in terms of, what your talents are and what you want to give back, you have to kind of also think about obviously paying the bills too. But my father-in-law said to me way back when Brian and I were in our early 20s and we were all focused on money, money, money. He said, go with the current. Don't ever go against the current. If you find what your God-given talents are and you lock and load into those talents and you figure out the purpose that you've been given to give back, to make a difference, to be something special to someone who may have not even known you, and then they meet you and you've made a difference in their lives that's life-lasting. It's one of those things where you're never really working a day in your life. So for me personally, I've been able to, be able to give back the photography because photography is so important to me, because it's something that you'll always have past me being alive to create it, past the person who's been photographed in it, for the next generations to come, and for, travel and real estate and all the other things that I do for my clients and my friends. And really my friends are my clients. If you're not my friend, you're really not my client. And I figured that out too over the course of this quarantine, is that, I've got people in my client base that are my dear friends. They're just my dearest friends. And I'm so grateful for having figured that out. A lot of times we never figure that out. We never know who the real friends are, but there's a lot of people in my life that are really near and dear that I've been taking care of for years. And our relationship is not about what I can give them. It's about a genuine relationship between people and how we can help serve each other, inspire each other, support each other, which goes back to, are the friends that you're hanging out with today the friends of your future? It's a big question. It's a huge question. The other thing I want to share with you or have you think about tonight is that it is so important for you to, once you've figured out your purpose, once you've figured out your gifts that God's given you, and you know where you need to go, to make sure that if it's not in the job that you're in, that you can pivot yourself into the direction you need to be, because you're going to be rewarded tenfold for having done that. You'll live a much happier life. You'll be rewarded in monetary dollars obviously is a given, but you'll also be rewarded in ways that don't even have any way to describe them. Satisfaction. Success is not built from just the dollar. Success is built from so many things. And, I believe in my heart that what you have in your hands today in terms of your ability and your knowledge of your talents, your knowledge of what you can do to give back, to make a difference with what deep in your heart you have in terms of your drive, your passion, your energy, is something that even if today you don't have that, like the success that you think that you should get or should have gotten, or wouldn't be as great as what it has been in some other career choice, just know that, God does not place that dream in your heart without giving you the ability to get it. And I feel like it's never said enough. It's never said enough to children when they're young and youth, when they're trying to pivot and figure out themselves, who am I going to be? Am I going to dye my hair blue today? Am I going to, go to this school? Am I going to be a lawyer? Am I going to be a graphic artist? It's never too many times to say to somebody, to find your passion, to live your passion, and to really know, kind of dig in deep to yourself, what in your gut, your heart is something you do for free. And that's really where the key to success lies, is finding that wonderful it. The other thing that I wanted to share with you tonight is a poem, and I apologize for not memorizing it. It's too long to memorize, and y'all know I've been doing all kinds of other stuff in the garden and everywhere else, and photographing babies now, thank goodness, again. So Texas has opened up, and we're back seeing babies in the studio. But this guy, Burton Braley, said this, and I want to say this to you guys tonight. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, work day and night for it, give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if only desire of it makes you quite mad enough to never tire of it, makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if gladly you'd sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, lose all of your terror of God or man for it, if you'll simply go after that thing that you want, that dream, that hobby, that passion, that creative something, that special skill that God gave you, with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famished and gaunt, nor sickness nor pain of body or brain can turn you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, you will absolutely get it. So I want to leave you with that thought. Think about your friends. Think about your space in the world. Think about your talent. Think about what you can do. Think about what it is, the fire in your belly that has been gnawing at you, that you're thinking, oh, if I could only do whatever that thing is, and you'd be great at it because God planted that seed in your heart. I want to encourage you to go after it, to pivot in the time that we're in right now. It's a special time to be in, where we can make a choice, to make a difference, to make a change in the way we've all been living our lives, and stretch, be uncomfortable, sit outside with the mosquitoes, to talk to people that you feel like you can make a difference in their lives. Whatever that thing is, that's living your sweet life. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. I'll see you next week.